So Oculus has a big old booth at E3 2016 this year, bigger than they have in years past, because Oculus is now a thing that you can buy and own and play. Now it is up to Oculus to sort of prove that the software experiences that you want on a virtual reality headset are going to be coming down the pipe. So I had a chance to check out 4 games at the Oculus booth that I'd like to tell you about that are going to be some of the bigger titles here in the future for the Oculus Rift. The first game is called Wilson's Heart. It's in development at Twisted Pixel. You might recognize them from games like Splosion Man or Loco Cycle. Wilson's Heart has definitely a different tone from those games because it is a VR horror game. It seemed really polished. It all has a black and white aesthetic to it. You're going through a mental hospital, and lots of jump scares are to be had there. There's just a lot of detail in the character work in the game, which made the jump scares where a character would just appear in front of you all the more terrifying. I got to check out a game called Ripcoil, which, if you're familiar with the game Windjammers, it's not exactly Windjammers in VR, although it's very close. You have an opponent on the opposite end of an arena, and you have a disc that you are throwing back and forth trying to get into the other team's goal. You can grab the disc if they're thrown at you, and if you keep that volley going, the disc moves faster and faster. And you can ricochet it off the walls and do trick shots to try to get it in their goal. What's really neat is you are standing still while you're playing the game. This also uses the touch controller, so you're actually reaching out to grab and throw the disc. But you actually shift your body weight to the left and right to move yourself. So you have to like play goalie on a really wide goal while like surfing back and forth on this big disc and grabbing and throwing the disc. I got really competitive over Ripcoil very quickly, which is a pretty good sign. Yeah, I had a good time with Ripcoil. They're planning to do a spectator mode too, so you can watch the other 2 people whose like movements you can see in their characters as they move around, and then hop into the loser's seat whenever they lose, which could be a fun arcadey game night. The next game I checked out was Feral Rites, which is in development at Insomniac. Feral Rites is the VR headset is meant to be like a third-person camera perspective. It's a pretty brutal, bloody brawler that you're kind of watching from above as you make your character do combos and the types of things you'd expect in like a beat-em-up game. There's kind of an Altered Beast thing going on where you can transform into this big monstrous form that you can keep going as long as you don't take damage. It didn't immediately click with me like the other games did. I still feel like if you're going to use a VR headset as like a third-person camera, you kind of have to prove the reason why you've chosen to do that, whereas a first-person game, it's immediately apparent you are the character. I enjoyed what I played, and I want to know what else they've got going on. The last game I checked out was the Unspoken, which is a magic dueling game. There are multiple classes with different spells. The class I was playing as had a shield in the left hand and a fireball in the right hand, which you could then throw at your opponent. They could block it back and forth with the shield. You could get like a volley going with that if you wanted to. Meanwhile, you're teleporting around the battlefield, collecting magical energy, which you can then channel into spells like a permanent shield that will just stay in front of you, or a flock of birds that will homing attack the enemy. You have to be really judicious with how you spend that magical energy on the spells because there's ways to counter everything. It was very fast-paced. I was terrible at it. I understood like what the spells were doing, but couldn't seem to figure out how to use them effectively against my opponent. But it was really frantic and fun, and I'm kind of curious like how it scales, like how you get good at it, what the game looks like when 2 people who are good at magic are doing magic at each other. That is what I had a chance to play at the Oculus booth. Stay tuned for more E3 2016 coverage here on Polygon.com, or you can go to youtube.com/Polygon for all of our video coverage.